Remnant is the core component in the FNAF narrative. Understanding it is the main motivation for the series' antagonist, William Afton, who attempts to recreate the incident that caused his discovery of the substance. So, what is it? That's what I will be explaining in this video. Again. As this video is a guide for those who don't know what Remnant is, are confused by the concept, or for newcomers to the franchise, I want this video to be as objective as possible, so if I get anything wrong in this video, let me know and supply proof if possible. Anyway, let's get into it. Remnant is the substance used to describe paranormal occurrences and behaviors in FNAF. Intense emotional energies are the spark for life beyond death. It's why spirits or memories of who a person once was continue to live or are reborn into our realm. But how does this work? The key to this is, as I said before, intense emotion. The most powerful of all, with the most extensive radius being agony. The prime example of spirits being tethered to this world is the MCI, the Missing Children's Incident Kids. William Afton, the man behind the slaughter, lured 5 kids to the safe room of a Freddy's Pizzaria, stuffing their bodies into the suits of the animatronic mascots, giving them newfound life in the animatronics. With the agony, fear, pain, and anger radiating in the room, the souls and memories of the children imprinted themselves onto the robots, creating a form of life for them. For this to work, however, the children's bodies needed to be stuffed into the suits because the spirit follows the flesh, it would seem, and also the pain. This is what Remnant is, the bounding of something that once was, a soul or memories of who someone was, making them almost real again, as Dr. Talbot says in Fazbear Frights, Epilogue 11. Remnant is, in non-scientific terms, it's like the mental is haunted. It's more complicated than that, of course, but it's similar to the way that water conducts electricity. Remnant is the mixing of the tangible with the intangible, of memory with the present, the people and things that are lost. It makes them almost real again. The best conductor for Remnant is metal, making the animatronics perfect vessels for souls and memories, otherwise known as possession. Can the spark of life be created out of just memories? You may have noticed that I brought up souls and memories in the last segment. This is because souls are not the only means of creating life in FNAF. You see, memories also play a huge factor with Remnant, as memories and emotions are the key ingredients of Remnant. The series has brought up many times that memories and emotions are embedded in our blood, sweat, and tears. And if an object is drenched enough in them, then it can create life. An example of this taking effect is in the 4th closet. After the loss of his daughter, Charlie, Henry Emily, co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment, started to go a little insane. The last thing he had of his daughter was a doll named Ella. For months, he wept all over the doll and started to believe the doll was actually his daughter. However, he wasn't content with that. He decided to rebuild his daughter at various stages of her life. The first, a toddler. The second, a child. The third, a teenager. And the fourth, a young woman. He stopped after the 4th. Why? Well, he realized how far off the deep end he fell. Henry fabricated memories of Charlie's life with both a tripod camera and built-in programs, fitted her with illusion discs to maintain the illusion that she was alive, and each of the robots had the Ella doll, which was embedded with Henry's grief, memories, and delusions. Charlie was given new life. The rebuilt Charlies did not have a soul inside of her, but the agony of a grieving father in a doll that was planted inside of each robot. This is what gave them life, with fabricated memories and an AI built into them being what gave them a form of sentience. However, despite that, Charlie, throughout her life, developed a soul of her own, with her own experiences and relationships with her friends she had from childhood. This is possible because in FNAF, a person's soul is who and what we are from our life experiences, our memories. This is why memories are a huge factor in Remnant, because they make up one soul in the series. As Dr. Talbot says, Remnant is the mixing of the tangible with the intangible, of memory with the present. The people and things that are lost, it makes them almost real again. For anyone who may be interested in learning more about the Charlie bots, I will have a few extra points on screen, so pause the video if you want to indulge yourself. Another example of this happening is instead in the games. The FNAF 4 crying child wept all week long, probably longer, but the game only shows 1 week, which was only made worse by his big brother Michael tormenting him. The crying child, on the day of his death, was shoved into the mouth of the Fredbear animatronic by his brother and friends. It was all just supposed to be a little fun, but what followed was not what any of them intended. Fredbear's mouth clamped shut onto the child's head. With the accumulation of his fear and agony throughout FNAF 4, the crying child was able to find new life in the Fredbear animatronic via his tears and blood soaked into the mouth of the animatronic. Whether that be his own soul or just part of his memories is unknown at this current time. So to sum up, Remnant is the combining or imprinting of one's own soul and memories of who a person once was onto an object. The best conductor of this is metal, with the power of agony or an intense emotion equivalent to agony. A soul or memories of who the person once was can be tethered or imprinted to something to give it life. Can emotion on its own be remnant? Now this is the part I got wrong in my last video. Remnant is emotion, just like it is memories. You can't have an emotion without an experience, and you can't have an experience without an emotion to experience it. Remnant is comprised of emotions, but it's more so used to classify a form of remnant. Emotional energies are the reasons why spirits latch onto an object. You have negative emotions that can bind a spirit to an animatronic, such as the MCI or Afton's death in Springtrap. I have done numerous experiments to measure, capture, contain, and study the leftover emotion embedded into objects that were near a tragedy. My work is focused on my hypothesis that you can take a saturation of agony at any kind of intelligence, even an artificial one, and they will combine together to transmute the energy of emotion into the energy of physical action. But you can also have positive emotions that bind spirits to objects too, as love can have its own influence as well. An example of this is with Jake in Fazbear Frights. Jake establishes halfway through the Stitch Wraith stingers that if he focuses on a happy memory, he can move on and leave the Stitch Wraith, but Andrew, the other spirit in the endo, cannot. Andrew cannot because his soul is split into multiple toys and possessions from the other stories, and because of the anger he held against William in the Fright series, Andrew was able to remain in this world because of his hatred, anger, and desire to make William hurt the way he made him hurt. Andrew cannot move on because his agony binds him to this world, just like the MCI. As Henry says in the FNAF 6 Fire,
"This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should."
Jake, on the other hand, is able to move on because his soul is whole, and because he has no unfinished business, unlike the other spirits. He was not bound to hate or anger or fear or agony, but because he was surrounded by a loving family who cared for him while he was suffering with a tumor. A doll used by his nanny, which she planned to give to him once he had recovered, was full of details of the adventures the real Jake would have gone on if he was well. These adventures were shared with his dad through a walkie-talkie in the doll. After Jake passes away at the end of the story makes note that the doll is no longer in the cabinet. This same doll's face was attached to the Stitch Wraith, explaining how Jake came to be in the Stitch Wraith. The love his family gave him, and was going to give him, was embedded in the doll, explaining why Jake possessed the doll and why Jake had the ability to expand people's happy memories as he does with a man later in the saga. This is an example of positive emotions and a form of remnant. Now, agony is just another category of remnant, as it is the strongest form of remnant, not only being able to tether souls to objects but able to manifest as their own entities, such as Shadow Bonnie being fully comprised of this agony, dark remnant. Agony on its own can animate objects without souls as well. An example of this is in the 4th Charlie bot. She was not able to understand the emotion that was embedded into its metal endoskeleton. It's only when Elizabeth Afton's soul, William Afton's daughter, found itself in the bot that it could understand the anger that was embedded into its metal. It can also explain the FNAF 3 Phantom animatronics. They're the byproducts of agony radiating from the agony-infused objects and Springtrap in the building. So now, back to the question at hand, can emotion on its own be remnant? Not on its own, but emotion is used to categorize a remnant. Positive emotion being light remnant and negative emotion being dark remnant. The glowing orbs in FNAF AR are all different colors, but are all classified as a remnant because there are different forms of remnant created out of various emotions if powerful enough. Can remnant be destroyed? No, remnant cannot be destroyed, but it does weaken it. There was a hypothesis that remnant could be destroyed in a fire, which is why the FNAF 3 location and the FNAF 6 location were burnt on the blueprints for the Scooper, a machine designed to collect remnants from an animatronic and inject them. On these blueprints, it states that when heated, no observable motion. keep in heated tank at sustained temperature. Substance should be malleable, but not more. There's a possibility that overheating might neutralize the effects permanently. As this was just a theory, it was revealed that Remnant does not burn in fire. However, it can be damaged by intense heat, as shown in the fourth closet, where warming up the fire causes the spirits to wither in more agony. Yes, being forced in a singular vessel where your spirit is being harvested into separate animatronics would also cause pain for them, but you get the point. An example of this is how William's spirit after FNAF 6 is able to be forced into a coma-induced nightmare by the vengeful spirit whose identity is irrelevant to this video.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
If fire isn't a guarantee when freeing the spirits, then what is a sure way of setting them free? We can help the spirits find their way and take the steps towards their afterlife, but they can only be set free if they are content to do so. We can help them by helping them find their happiest day, a happy memory from the past or a dream that will drag them away from their agony and body, giving them peace. Jake began to feel as if he was being sucked out of the thing he was in. He felt like he was a puff of smoke and he was being born from an air current away from the being that had contained him. He could feel himself being pulled into the memory itself. He intuitively understood that if he was enveloped in the memory, he could stay in that happy place forever. But does that mean they are set free? Well, if they are willing to move on, then yes. If not, like Charlie, even after happiest day, and Jake in the Stitchworth thing is not willing to move on until Andrew's mess is contained, because as stated before, spirits can only leave if they are content to do so. The MCI can only move on if their killer rests. William Afton, while he is around, they won't be content to do so. Charlie, William's first victim and protector of the MCI, won't be content to move on so long as Afton and the spirits are still here. Basically, Remnant can only be dissipated if the emotion, like the agony of a tragedy, remains, keeping the spirits' memories of who they were tethered to this world healed, and they are set free. Happiest day is more so the key to passing on into the afterlife if the spirit so chooses to take the opportunity. Something I wanted to cover relatively quickly is soul splitting. Basically, it's when haunted metal is melted to a state where it's malleable and injected into other bodies, such as animatronics. The souls in the metal are spread around into the other animatronics, and parts of their souls are spread across multiple bodies simultaneously. We see this in the fourth closet, where Afton melts down the FNAF 1 endos and injects the Remnant into the Funtime animatronics to experiment to control them and move his soul into his own metal body, made from the spirit's metal so he can live forever. Going off tangent, this is only possible because spirits consent to keeping you alive. Why would the spirits want to keep Afton alive? Well, conveniently, when Afton injected the spirit's Remnant into the other animatronics, causing the spirits to forget who William Afton really is, they can only see him as the friendly mascot that lured them to the back room. Anyway, this is one way soul splitting can work. Another way is having a part of a possessed animatronic and suits scattered around various places, as seen with the Fun Times in Sister Location and the FNAF 3 End of Night minigames. One last way for soul splitting to work is infection. In Fazbear Frights, Andrew's anger infected various objects, resulting in his agony corrupting them with part of his soul/memories. We got to this big place with lots of cool stuff. All I can remember after that is wanting to be everywhere. I can remember being all over the place in all kinds of things. This makes sense as souls are comprised of emotions and serve as an anchor to vessels. Are there any other properties that Remnant has? Yeah! Remnant can also heal your body, as described in Tales from the Pizzaplex in the story Frailty, where Jessica, who works in a hospital, scrapes bits of Remnant from her heart pendant to patients, healing them. This is also why Michael Afton could stand up after Ennard vacated his body. His skeleton was able to grow back, and presumably the rest of his body, because as baby, Elizabeth Afton said to him,
"You won't die."
So Remnant can also bring people back from the dead. This is why Remnant is the key to immortality, William's main motive throughout the series. All of these properties only take effect if the spirit residing with their Remnant consent to it by giving the person it's injected to a piece of them. They have to want to help you to keep you alive. To sum it all up, Remnant is basically intense emotion like agony and memories, keeping a spirit or a memory of who someone was tethered to this world. It can't be destroyed, but heat can damage it, and the only way it can be truly dissipated is if the agony of a tragedy has been healed and the spirits have the happiest day, moving on to the afterlife. Soul splitting can result from Remnant being injected into new vessels. Haunted objects with the same soul in them can be located in various places at the same time, and emotional energies can infect objects, causing their souls/memories to be split into objects. Remnant can heal a person, bringing them back from the dead and grant immortality, so long as the spirit allows them to live. Though I will add that even though Charlie has the remnants of Henry's grief and memories of her circulating through her body, you can't gain Remnant from her the same way you can gain Remnant from an animatronic with a spirit. Why William stuffs the kids in the suits and later uses them to give the fun times life. Well, I hope that explains Remnant accurately and you aren't too confused by it. Though, if you have any questions, you can ask down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer as many as I can to the best of my ability. Again, I stated at the beginning of the video, if I'm wrong about Remnant, please let me know, because I would like to keep this video as objective as possible with the knowledge that we currently have at a given time. Also, if anything else should warrant inclusion, I'll add it in a pinned comment. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your day/evening.